Lindsey Graham is going to attempt to appeal to the lowest common denominator of his party, and he's going to do it in an incredibly awkward way in this attack on Hillary Clinton.
And as to Hillary Clinton, the last person in the world you want to send into the arena with the Russians is Hillary Clinton. As to the Clintons, I've been dealing with this crowd for 20 years. I'm fluent in Clinton speak. You want me to translate, Jack? When he says, Bill says, I didn't have sex with that woman, he did. When she says, I'll tell you about building the pipeline when I get to be president, means she won't. And when she tells us, trust me, you got all the emails that you need, we haven't even scratched the surface. So I understand this crowd, and I can beat them, and if we can't beat them, it doesn't matter.
Thank you, Senator.
He's saying that we need to have a candidate who knows the Clintons inside and out, and they're a lying machine, and I'm that guy, and I can beat them. And if we can't beat Hillary Clinton, none of the stuff in our platform matters. I think that's what he's saying.
Okay, yeah, you might be right. Yeah, none of the other Republican candidates would ever stoop to doing a Monica Lewinsky joke. Certainly,
really?
He's unique in that regard. I'm joking.
Oh,
I'm totally joking.
That would be like that would be them raising their game if they did that.
Exactly. It's certainly better than another Mexican rapist joke. But yeah, like that's Lindsey Graham trying to, I guess, in this cycle, he's trying to be Trump. He's trying to say something that's gonna, get noticed. Or I guess we're noticing it, but it's pathetic. Like, it has nothing to do. Hillary Clinton, if you want to say that we can't trust what she says based purely on word alone, based purely on reputation alone, I am receptive to that argument. I don't think that we should necessarily trust Hillary when she gives us just hints of what she would do as president, were she to become president. When it comes to the emails, if something comes out, I will react in the way that I think is appropriate. I personally think that they're off on a wild goose chase with the emails, since nothing has still been released despite tons and tons of disclosure from the State Department and from her personally. But there was no reason to bring up the Monica Lewinsky thing. I think that if anything, that is simply going to turn off some of probably the women that would otherwise vote for the Republican Party. You're attacking her based on her husband having cheated on her. That has nothing to do with her. Attack Bill Clinton if you want to for that reason. Attack him, try to disrupt his fundraising and stuff like that. But to me, it just seems totally unnecessary and awkward and forced to bring that up decades after it happened.
You know what? I don't know.
You disagree?
I do, because I still hold Jackie O responsible for when John F. Kennedy was banging Marilyn Monroe.
You do?
That had a lot to do with her. She was responsible. And again, Eleanor Roosevelt. What the fuck was her problem?
Yeah.
The guys, he was out getting laid, and Anyway, it's the women letting their men get laid like that and then lie about it.
Yeah.
Lindsey's got a good point, because if they're, what really rubs Lindsey Graham the wrong way is someone lying about their private sexual lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What doesn't rub him the right way is the wrong male prostitute. He should have chosen differently. Yeah, like if we want to really get into people's private sexual history, first of all, I have nothing against gay individuals, gay sex. Us on our side, we believe it's the most natural and fine thing in the world. But on his side, they disagree, and he is probably, I'm not going to say definitely, because I don't want to get sued, he's probably hiding something there. And if we were to uncover that, he probably would not like people's private sexual history being discussed so openly as we are doing right now. And that is something that he is bringing not to a semi-comedic news video, but to the presidential arena. Is this presidential behavior? Is this any more presidential behavior than wrapping bacon around the barrel of your assault rifle and firing off? No, they do not know how to act like a goddamn president. That's one of the things that's most depressing every day, turning on and watching the political news, is we don't have anybody who can even offer up an Obama-level sort of presidential performance, let alone some of the classic presidents of
To paraphrase the Bible when it comes to Lindsey Graham, Lindsey, before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. Anyway, I'm just paraphrasing the Bible for Lindsey. It's the cock is going to crow.
I heard that. I did. Yes. I'm going to cock block any further jokes of that sort.